Okay, class, you worked so very hard to listen to the contrasts in syllables between the short syllables and the long syllables. In this practice, you're going to have to drop some syllables because in many English words, we tend to drop a syllable when we speak, even though we write that extra syllable. So let's look at the whole list of words, and we're going to figure out which syllable disappears, and we're going to practice those. And you know, these are very common words in English, so if you mispronounce them and when you add that extra syllable, you're going to sound strange. People will understand you, but you'll sound strange. So we've got to get used to now maybe undoing some bad habits we've gotten into by actually trying to pronounce exactly what you're reading. You can't do that with these words. If we look at the first word, again, we use this all the time. It looks like interesting. It looks like a 4-syllable word, but we pronounce 3 syllables. Interesting, interesting. We're dropping that syllable. To practice with these, remember I gave you that sheet in class that has the disappearing syllables, so you should take that out and be practicing with me. As you'll see on that sheet, they've crossed out that second syllable. So we pronounce that word interesting, interesting, with only 3 syllables. The next one, temperature. It looks like 4 syllables, but we don't pronounce that way. We say temperature, temperature. So if we look, it's that syllable that we're crossing out. Temperature, temperature. We're stressing the first one, dropping that second one. Temperature. If we look at this next one, we don't say favorable, which is 4 syllables. We say favorable, favorable. We're dropping that second syllable, aren't we? We look at this one. Yeah, I'm feeling not miserable. You say, I'm feeling miserable today, right? And I'm feeling miserable. 1, 2, 3. 3 syllables. Miserable. Maybe this one you don't use too much. Pleasurable, huh? It's not pleasurable. We're dropping that second syllable. Pleasurable. Pleasurable. Okay? This one, of course, you use, especially here at Blackhawk College. Laboratory, huh? You don't pronounce that O. Laboratory. That's 5 syllables, but we pronounce it as if it's 4 syllables. So, laboratory, laboratory, by dropping that second syllable. Here, it's not elementary. It's not 5 syllables. It's elementary, elementary. What are we dropping? We're dropping that syllable, elementary. The next one, maybe again, this is not a word that you use a lot, but documentary. 5 syllables, we don't pronounce it that way. We say documentary, documentary. What are we dropping? We're dropping that syllable there at the end, that 4th syllable. Now, here, you have to be careful. Separate. Excuse me, is that word a verb or is that word an adjective, right? What is it? Well, if it's an adjective, we're going to pronounce it separate. It looks like 3 syllables, but we drop that second syllable and we pronounce this as if it's it. Separate, separate. But if it's the verb, it's going to be separate, isn't it? It's going to be 3 syllables. Let's separate something. But if something is separate, that's the adjective form. Separate, it's only 2 syllables. So you have to be careful. So with the adjective form, we're going to drop a syllable. Separate. And again, here, we have to be careful. If it's the verb form with this word, it's deliberate. Deliberate, it's 4 syllables. But if it's the adjective form, it's going to be deliberate. Deliberate is only going to be 3 syllables. So I'm going to pronounce all of these with the drop syllables one more time. So, interesting, temperature, favorable, miserable, pleasurable, laboratory, elementary, documentary, separate, deliberate. Okay, I'm going to go to the other side and we're going to work on those. Okay, here's another word, common. You use it all the time. You're not going to say favorite. You're going to say favorite, right? You're not going to say 3 syllables. You're only going to say 2 syllables. And we're going to drop that middle one. It's favorite, favorite. We use this one all the time. It's not different. It's different, different. We're dropping that second syllable. One of my favorite words, restaurant. Okay, I don't say restaurant. I say restaurant. I'm skipping that whole middle syllable. Restaurant. A lot of times, working with pronunciation, I'm sure you're going to need not an aspirin, you're going to need an aspirin. Only 2 syllables. Aspirin. Okay? When you go to your favorite restaurant, you're going to need, you may order not a beverage, not 3 syllables, only 2 syllables, a beverage. Beverage. You're not going to be comfortable, that's 4 syllables, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to drop that second syllable, comfortable, comfortable. And I hope you'll be reasonable, not reasonable, reasonable, reasonable. You're dropping that second one there, aren't you? Reasonable. And so you're going to this is like a Z, reasonable, reasonable. And then I hope many of you like your veggies, right? We had that one in the slang book, veggies, but veggies are vegetables, not vegetables. Vegetables. It sounds very strange if you say vegetables. It's vegetables. You're going to drop that second syllable, vegetables. And then, when do you study? Many of you study in the, not evening, 3 syllables. You study in the evening, only 2 syllables, evening. And my favorite, you all know I love this, huh? It's not chocolate. I like chocolate, huh? Chocolate. Only 2 syllables. So let's read these down again, the right way with the drop syllables. Favorite, different, restaurant, aspirin, beverage, comfortable, reasonable, vegetable, evening, chocolate. So again, I want you to practice this several times before you go to the back of the sheet. And now I'm going to read you that dialogue that comes in the back of the sheet, okay? Because there's a lot of these dropped syllables there, and it's good now to practice them in context. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to get my glasses, and I'm going to read to you. All right? Here we go. This is that dialogue, and there's an A and there's a B. So I'm going to read A first, and then I'll go on and read B, and I'll be both parts for you today, okay? All right, and again, this is going to be in a restaurant. All right, so here we go. Let's go to a different restaurant today. The food at Judy's has received favorable reviews in the paper and is reasonably priced. Besides, it's practically around the corner from the laboratory. B says, okay, let's try it. I'd like a pleasurable lunch. I don't think anybody's going to really say that to you, but we can practice. I'd like a pleasurable lunch. A says, waiter, we'd like comfortable seats near the window, and please make out separate checks. We'd like comfortable seats near the window, and please make out separate checks. Notice in that one, separate's the adjective, right? B says, the menu looks basically interesting, but they don't have my favorite beverage, iced tea. My favorite beverage, iced tea. A says, oh well, they have several interesting vegetable dishes and 5 different chocolate desserts. Oh well, they have several interesting vegetable dishes and 5 chocolate desserts. B says, I don't know if I can eat anything. I don't know if I can eat anything. I'm really feeling miserable today. I'm feeling miserable today. The students in my elementary class were deliberately causing problems. The students in my elementary class were deliberately causing problems. And A says, students periodically act up. Students periodically act up. Why don't you take some aspirin and forget about it? You'll feel better after you eat something. So even teachers get headaches. So practice again. I'm looking forward to listening to your tapes. And remember, syllables are important, but in this case, you've got to drop some. Bye-bye.